Hello and welcome to another edition of Pete's Take On, and in this episode we're going to be discussing a controversial topic of snowflakes. And no, I don't mean the kind that you put into a ball and throw at somebody, although for some people they probably want to do that with a group of people I'm about to discuss. But let's leave that aside and discuss first of all, what is a snowflake for those that are unaware or like me very rarely watch the media. Well, the term snowflake is being used right now to describe a section of society, mainly millennials, who effectively melt under pressure. Now you may say, why is that a bad thing? Well, we're going to discuss that. Now, does this apply to everybody? No, snowflakes are only a very small minority of society, although you would think that they are bigger because of the amount of attention the media give them. And that's just another aspect of the media trying to draw us into a controversial or polarizing topic. And the reason that's a challenge is because the more that the snowflake movement gathers pace, the more impact it's likely to have, or the more other people who are going to be influenced may want to join them. And why is that? Guys, you know me, I'm not here to slag people off. I'm a live and let live guy. I understand that everybody has their own model of the world. But for a lot of people, they're following a methodology that has hidden dangers. And I want to expose that as to why snowflakes are a challenge. For a start, you may say, yes, they are a small minority. But let's just look at the human body. Cancer is a small minority of cells, but look at the damage it does over time. Let's go to World War II in Germany. The vast majority of Germans during World War II were peaceful, law-abiding citizens. But the peaceful majority were virtually irrelevant when it came down to the actions of the Third Reich, who were responsible for millions of deaths. So, it's not about ignoring them because they're small. The voice that they have right now in society is one that is very loud. Now, again, if you listen to most people, they turn around and say, well, snowflakes just should man the hell up. But I got news for you. You can't just say to somebody, man the hell up, and expect them to do so, because as soon as you offer unsolicited coaching, or as soon as you polarize somebody for being wrong because you think that your model of the world is right, then there is instant and immediate kickback. Because you take a positionality and then you get into a battle of attack and defend. So just telling a snowflake to man up wet pants ain't gonna cut it. So let's see if we can educate people on why it's really against every aspect of being a functional human to be this snowflake. For a start, let's go to the research. There was enough studies done in the 1970s where they took a group of children and instead of exposing them to the daily challenges of life, they essentially bubble wrapped them. They weren't given challenges, they were put in environments that were super safe. And the thought was, well, if these children don't have any kind of external problems or challenges or impetus that's gonna potentially harm them, they're essentially wrapped in emotional bubble wrap, then they would probably be more functional people in society. Well, the results speak for themselves. They turned out to be the most dysfunctional people in society, and when challenges came along, which they're meant to by design in this incredible experience called life, the people that were wrapped in bubble wrap had absolutely no support structure and became an absolute miserable failure when it came to any kind of success that you could measure, not just financially, but more emotionally, spiritually, or levels of fulfillment. So we know that you are not meant to be wrapped in bubble wrap. Right? That's not how life works. Why? See, for the most part, school and traditional upbringing do not mention emotional maturity. They confuse emotional maturity with biological maturity, and trust me, the two are not correlated. So what are the steps on the journey of emotional maturity? Well, there are two major ones I'm going to share with you that if you're a snowflake watching this, then please take note. The first one is where you actually finally become okay not being liked. See, when you become okay not being liked, then you can start to become authentic rather than run around in society trying to adapt to the approval strategies of others, or try to be accepted by others unless you go to pieces because you have a massive fear of rejection. I mean, can you imagine somebody who has total fear of rejection? Are you going to be single? That's like saying, oh, I'll never start a business unless I know it will work. Well, guess what? You're never going to start a business. I'll never ask out a member of the opposite sex or same sex, whatever your preference, unless I'm guaranteed that they're going to accept me. Never going to happen. So if you're setting yourself up to avoid rejection because you're too busy trying to be liked, then that is a life of hiding out, not expressing your potential, playing small, and never getting to the juice of life, where you're saying, well, I'm not going to climb the top of this mountain and to enjoy the view in case I fall over and scrape my knee. You get the point. Now, the second part of the journey of emotional maturity for me is where you finally realize and understand and come to terms with life is a growth-centric experience, not a comfort-centric experience. So if you think life is comfort-centric, then you are going to be designing yourself into a comfort zone where anybody threatens that, anybody calls me a name, any challenge in life I want to sue you for because it's not my fault. It is the mantra, the war cry of victimhood, and nowhere in society, nowhere in life, nowhere in nature is being a victim rewarded. Whether it's on the plains of the savannah in Africa or whether it's in a courtroom, victimhood begets victimhood. So, if you are not building yourself a level of resilience, you're out of the game. You're not setting yourself up to win. And trust me, nobody's born with armor. It's something that we grow into. Nobody's born with big muscles. It's something that's developed in the gym. And if you go to the gym as a great example, how do we build muscle? Through challenge. We challenge the muscle until it can't take any more, and under the rule set of the physical world and biology, it is therefore pre-programmed to return with a better version of itself. Hello? And most people who go through some sort of emotional challenge, while it may be tough at the time, they come through that stronger if they have a growth-centric mindset. In fact, hey, some of the books I enjoy reading or rereading, let's look at the first one here. David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. Now, I'm going to do a whole Pete's Take on David Goggins. If you haven't watched that, go look for it. But you want a masterclass on understanding how to handle adversity in the physical world, or emotional abuse at a young age, go read that book, right? Full respect to David Goggins on there. Trust me, that is not the life of a snowflake, and you don't want snowflakes applying to join the Navy SEALs. We all know what would happen there. So the biggest problem with the universities right now, the biggest problem with the media supporting this aspect of extreme left-wing, socially acceptable versus, go out there and create challenge for yourself is this. We are breeding an entire generation of I'm easily offended. Are you freaking kidding me? Safe spaces? Yeah. Go talk to your parents or grandparents that went through World War II and talk about safe spaces. Safe space was a bomb shelter, not a little place in college where nobody's allowed to call you names. Okay? No. If you are easily offended, then you are essentially giving the remote control of your fulfillment out to the world, and trust me, it's going to get those buttons pressed consistently. And you may have a little safe space in college, but as soon as you go out into the real world, I got news for you. Nobody gives a crap about your problems. In fact, 80% of people don't care about your issues. The other 20% are glad you have them. So what we really should be doing is taking the snowflakes and building a culture of not I'm easily offended, but building a culture of you can say what the hell you like to me and I'm impervious. It'll never offend me. That's how you build self-esteem. And as a role of a parent, in my opinion, the primary role of a parent is to cultivate self-esteem in a child. If you can cultivate self-esteem, then when they fly the nest, you're setting them up to win in a world that really doesn't care whether you have a safe space or not. You're setting them up to win when it comes to understanding that failure isn't falling down, it's staying down when you've fallen. You're setting them up to win when the person that they've been plucking up the courage to ask on a date turns around and say, why would I ever go out with you? It can bounce off. You're setting them up to win when they have self-esteem, they have armament against the fear of rejection, which again is what most people unfortunately don't have, and especially the snowflakes, paper thin body armor against that, if any at all. And therefore, they're going to rather remain in their little group, justify why those other people are mean, and therefore never be able to take the bat off their shoulder and take a swing at life just in case they miss the ball. You get the point. Now, I'm being a little hard here, and I'm not saying there aren't instances where you need to have strong levels of empathy, of course. I'm not saying there's not instances where you need to be able to sit with somebody and help them lick their wounds. That's part of humanity. I'm not saying avoid compassion. I'm not saying avoid empathy. I'm saying if your primary go-to is, oh, I'm going to let other people easily offend me by stuff I can't control, you are setting yourself up to failure, and you're going against the laws of nature, which state that growth and contribution is what drives evolution. And the strongest trees, my friend, don't grow in the safest woods. They grow in the strongest winds. So if you can understand that your role here is to build deep roots, to build a strong heart, not a fragile heart that you then looking around for a place where nobody can poke a hole in it, you're going to have a much better setup when it comes to engaging and having a fulfilled life and being a contributor to society rather than someone who you're relying on society to protect you from those nasty people who can offend you so easily. So that's my take, guys. Now, it may not get me invited to speak on many university campuses right now, especially in North America, but if you really want to wake up and own yourself and get ready for a life of joy, fulfillment, and accomplishment and expressing of your potential, then give up the need to be a snowflake. Give up the need for safe spaces. Man up wet pants, as some other people would say, and learn to be able to enjoy the dance. Learn to be able to enjoy the fact that life is going to throw stuff at you. Learn to be able to dance with the fear rather than run from it, and you'll look over your shoulder one day and think, wow, now I'm in a place where I can live life on my terms rather than spend the entire existence running around looking for a blanket to hide under. Snowflakes, wake up! Hey, Peter here, hope you enjoyed that video, but remember, knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. It's not about being passively entertained, it's about applying what you've learned in your life to make a difference. If you enjoyed that, please subscribe, hit the bell button to be notified, and leave me a comment below, let me know what you think. And if you really want to make a difference, hit the share button and share this with somebody you care about. Let's see if we can make the world a little better place.